Welcome to Peter and Roughie's football show on PLZ Soccer, this Euro 2020 special, and it is a crucial day. It's a massive day for Scotland. It's a chance for us to qualify for the next stage of a tournament for the first time in our history. That would be monumental. The whole country, I'm almost certain, will go into meltdown. Can we do it? Give us your thoughts on it. We're more than happy to read out so many of your messages. Thank you very much for joining us. Roughie, we now know what's at stake. We just simply have to beat Croatia.
Yeah, and I'm sure Steve Clarke has told the players that. You know, I think they'll come up with some kind of formation. I'm hoping we're going to be a wee bit more adventurous. And we will get chances, and if we get the chances, let's hope somebody can stick one away. I think we will need more than one goal. They always generally get a goal, or we lose a goal. So I know we're struggling to get one goal, but I keep saying this is a home game for us, and we keep talking about Croatia. Yeah, they've got a couple of world-class players. The rest of them are pretty ordinary. I would just like to think the boys are up for it after Wembley. You know, the whole place must have been buzzing, the training must have been buzzing, hanging about the hotel must have been great. Obviously, unfortunately, with Billy Gilmour, maybe put them on a wee bit downer after that. But to go into this game, we're going into this game, and I've said it all along, you need to go into these games with everybody behind you, the fans behind you, the media behind you, everybody pulling in the right direction. And on this occasion, everybody is pulling in the right direction. We saw something on Friday night, something for the future. I hope it's not the future, I hope it's now. I hope a lot of these players can experience getting to the latter stages of this tournament. And the good thing about it as well, Peter, there's a new generation out there. There's a new generation of kids out there who have never seen Scotland. You know, and they've never got right behind them for whatever reason, but now the whole country is latched on to this team. And I hope it's a really successful night. I don't want to see a lot of people getting turned off again, obviously, if we don't qualify. So that's why I think it's important we qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. You've set it up brilliantly. Our man Gabriel Antoniazzi is out there at Hampden. Gabriel, it's all set up brilliantly, but there's a fair bit of consternation ahead of this one because it seems to be a little difference of opinion. Billy Gilmour's out. We're all flat about it, but we have to get on with it. But the fallout from that is people are questioning why a lot of the Scotland players are not in isolation, especially when you consider Mason Mount and Ben Chilwell are out for England.
Yeah, well, the SFA have spoken to the public health boards in England, obviously where the game took place, in London on Friday night, and they've decided that no one was deemed a close enough contact in close proximity inside for 15 minutes to be deemed a close contact and then have to isolate. Whereas Mason Mount and Ben Chilwell, England players, but of course Chelsea teammates of Billy Gilmour, we believe that they were speaking in the tunnel after the match. That is why it was deemed inside, close contact, perhaps 15 minutes or more, and that's why they are currently isolating. They think they're going to be out until at least the 28th of June, which would mean they could miss a last 16 game for England. Be a huge blow. We know how important Mason Mount is for them. But currently, Scotland behind me, Hampden Park, we're expecting a full selection of 25 players, of course, not including Billy Gilmour. Fans starting to arrive. We're about 4 hours, just under 4 hours now until kickoff. 20 degrees here in the Glasgow sun. It's all set up perfectly. It's all up to the players and the manager now. Can they do it?
Yeah, fingers crossed. I share your enthusiasm and your voice, Gabriel. Of course, you did mention there Billy Gilmour. He's not playing. We have to look to someone else. And the manager, Steve Clarke, says this is the perfect opportunity for someone to step up to the plate.
He's upset, as you would expect. Asymptomatic, no symptoms. So hopefully his health will hold up. He won't have too many symptoms. And he'll get back to playing as quickly as possible. The only spanner that throws into the works that Billy would have started the game and now he won't. So it's a chance for someone else to come into the team and make themselves the national hero.
He'll be sitting there with his family absolutely gutted. I mean, he'll be the lowest boy in the whole of Scotland.
To win the man of the match in a Scotland-England game, and have the whole nation getting behind him as the main man, you know, and he stepped up to it on Friday night, and I'm sure he would have stepped up to it tonight as well. It's going to be a lonely place for him in the isolation. You know, I do hope he has got family beside him, you know, to support him, because he's a young man. Still learning his trade, but this will be a massive blow. But the only good thing about it is he's got his whole future ahead of him, and I think we've all seen enough to know that it's encouraging that he is going to be a big player for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Matthew Roberts reckons that might have been close to Billy Gilmour because I was coughing there. Sorry about that, Matthew. Everybody, just at this moment, guys, what's your opinion if England get beaten by the Czech Republic? Where does that leave us if we win by 3-0? Would that put us second? Well, there are, again, all these permutations, Gabriel. I think the general consensus, without being... writing off the Czech Republic, but the general feeling is, Gabriel, that England should win this match. They're at Wembley, they're at home, they should win this match, and that leaves it wide open for us just to win the game. What happens if the Czech Republic win it?
Yeah, there's plenty of permutations. We were speaking about them all on the show yesterday. Let's start with England and the Czech Republic game. Now, if the game is a draw, the Czechs will top the group because of their better goal difference. They're currently +2, courtesy of their 2 goals scored here by Patrick Schick at Hampden last Monday. England only have a positive goal difference by 1. So if it's a draw, the Czechs will be in first place. If the Czechs win, this is where it gets interesting. If they win by 2 goals and Scotland win by any scoreline, then it will be England in third place, and they'll be the ones that will go as the third place qualifiers. They still will go through, but they could play anyone, likely either the Dutch side in Budapest or the winner of Group E back here in Glasgow next Tuesday. With regards to the England team, we're expecting Harry Maguire and Jack Grealish to come in. There's a few, obviously, Mason Mount missing out. Ben Chilwell won't get his first appearance. Perhaps we could even see Jordan Henderson, the Liverpool captain. But England will be desperate to win that game. They don't want to come second, even though they may have an easier last 16 tie if they come second. The path in itself is going to be pretty similar. And the last 16 tie, if you win Group D, which England will do if they win the match, is at Wembley. So England will be trying to win. They'll be pretty much full strength. A few changes. They'll be trying to win. And the message here for Scotland, for Steve Clarke, is just win the match in 90 minutes and you'll be still in the tournament come next week.
Yeah, I mean, the permutations for England, obviously, it will favour them if they win the group because, again, you're playing at your home ground. I mean, that's the incredible thing about it. The good news for us, as Gabriel's talking about there, win the match. We've got fans in there, not as many as we would like, but nevertheless, Steve Clarke reckons fans inside Hampden could make such a crucial difference in this one.
Make half the noise that the 2.5 or the 3,000 odd supporters did at Wembley, then it'd be a great atmosphere. What I would say to the Tartan Army is we need you backing from the first minute to the 95th minute. We need you all the way. Sometimes in a game things go against you. That's when you need the crowd more than anything. So hopefully they'll get right behind us from the first to the last minute, and hopefully everybody leaves the stadium with a big smile on their face.
It's all set up, Roughie. I mean, from the absolute dejection after the Czech Republic, we're lifted again after the England performance. Now we just need to find a goal from somewhere. Everybody's talking about it. All the messages are about just getting 1 goal is enough.
Yeah, well, we saw in the 2 games that we can create chances. We saw the chances we had the Czech Republic. We saw 2 or 3 chances against England. But 2 or 3 chances in a game at this level is all you need. All you need is one person to stick one of these chances away, and it just lifts everybody. And I'm sure the people in the stadium would be lifted if we get that first goal. So I think the first goal is very, very, very important. Obviously, if they get it, we've got to score 2 goals, which we have been doing a lot recently. Yeah, we get 2 against Holland, but against all the other teams, the big teams, 1 goal is all we've been managed to muster. So if it's 1-0, it's 1-0. We'll just have to sit it out.
Yeah, we've got a good record against Croatia, though.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, 2-0 in the last game. I can't remember who scored in that game, but it was 2-0. But the other games were all really tight, and I expect this one no different. I think the only difference for this game is both of them need to win. And I don't know if that will make, a rather cagey game, more open. Because as the game goes on and it's nothing, it's nothing each at half time, the second half could just be end-to-end stuff. Yeah. Because you've got to throw caution to the wind, you've got to get that goal. And obviously the 2 of them in the back of their minds will know nothing each, 1 each, 2 each is no good.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, as I look back, Billy Bremner, Graham Souness, Kenny Dalglish, yourself, the likes of an Alan Brazil, a Gary McAllister, a Stuart McCall. I'm going through them all. A Darren Jackson, a Craig Burley. All of these guys have played at major tournaments and never got out of that group stage. This is a chance for legendary status for these boys. I don't think they quite realise that.
Yeah, it is. On paper, it is absolutely, it'd be incredible for where we've been for the last 20 odd years, whatever it is, to get the chance. I have to say it is an easier chance. I mean, I think next year it'll be the bottom team we'll probably get through as well. So, no, if they change the rules, I mean, it's incredible that so many teams are in the group. There's only 6 groups, and if you're 4 best of the 6 groups, you're through. If you're third with the points, even 3 points could get you there. So it has made it a lot easier. But you're right, the disappointments of goal difference in 74, goal difference in 78, goal difference in 82, and 86 was a bit of a failure. But the goal difference one is the one that's hard to take, because you played well. I mean, we hammered New Zealand 5-2, and obviously, Brazil hammered us, and then it goes down to the last one. And it was the same in 78 with Holland. You beat Holland 3-2, so the games are there that you can win. It's just winning them to make you qualify, which we haven't done. Well,
for the benefit of Gabriel, and I might as well jog your memory because I know you weren't born, Gabriel, it was all set up basically for us to do the same again against Russia. And then basically Willie Miller and Alan Hansen ran into each other, Gabriel, which allowed the Russian Shengelia to bear down in goal unchallenged. And Gabriel, you'll never believe it, the goalkeeper that day, all he had to do to save the nation and potentially give us a chance to win the game and go through to the next stage in 1982, Gabriel, all that goalkeeper had to do was take out Shengelia. I mean, absolutely batter him. It was as simple as that, Gabriel, and he didn't. He let Shengelia go around him. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I have seen the clip of the 2 defenders bashing into each other a few times, especially in recent montages. But hey, at least that can't happen today. We won't be saying, if we'd have just not conceded that 50-yard goal to Sheik. We know it's simple. If you win, they will go through. I think that's going to give a real boost to the players as well. We spoke yesterday about how big a blow, bringing us back down to earth after the elation of Friday night. Billy Gilmour, the best player on that day, now has coronavirus. But the fact that the fact that we know, due to last night's games, that if you just go through, I think it'll give the players such a huge boost. And if we can just go back to Gilmour missing, obviously it is a massive blow for Steve Clarke and his team, but I don't think it will be as big a miss as Kieran Tierney. We were here last week, 8 days ago, and just as we were about to go off air, we heard that Tierney would not be playing. We couldn't believe it. Obviously, it was the calf strain. He made such a difference at Wembley. And because Tierney is so crucial to the way that Scotland play in that 3 at the back system, it made such a big impact and we couldn't move the ball quick enough. Obviously, Gilmour will be a blow, but I think we do have able replacements in there. Stuart Armstrong, even the likes of Ryan Christie and David Turnbull can move the ball quickly. Perhaps John Fleck if you want a more defensive-minded midfielder. But I think it's still a very positive mood in the camp. And hopefully we don't have any repeats of 1982.
Yeah, absolutely. To answer your question, Gabriel, if Roughie gets sent off, we could have survived. We could have just put another goalkeeper in. We had enough world-class players to get us through, Roughie. Do you have nightmares about it?
No, I don't. Because as we're sitting here, I'd be remembered as the only goalkeeper in Scottish history to be sent off in a World Cup qualifier. And I'm sure you wouldn't forget that in a hurry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, Roughie, if it had got us through, we'd have taken it. Anyway, apart from anything else, the good thing, as Gabriel mentioned there, okay, there's one player that we would love to have seen in the starting 11. He's not there. But Liam Cooper mentioned that there is a real togetherness, there's a real good spirit in this Scotland camp ahead of the match.
Yeah, the morale's been brilliant. Every squad I've been in, it's been unbelievable. Obviously, we did the trip away in La Finca, unbelievable, and you come straight away with the boys, and the morale's there straight away. So, no, the togetherness is brilliant, and it leaves us in good stead. We go on that pitch, we work hard for each other, and it's all to get a result. We need a result. We need to win the game, and hopefully that is enough to get us out of the group.
Yep, Paul Thompson says, I think it's a tougher game than England. Croatia are more technical, but I believe we can do it. Give Naismith a chance for 15 minutes. The last 15 minutes, says William Christie. Gordon McFadden makes a very good point. We need someone to sit on Modric. Gabriel, he's not the player, Gabriel, that he once was, Luka Modric. Still, he can kill you with a pass. But he doesn't have the same kind of energy when he was at his absolute peak.
No, the 35-year-old Ballon d'Or winner is still a magnificent play. It was really good for Real Madrid a couple of games this season, especially, do you remember that game at Liverpool? I think he gave you a bit of stick when they ran riot at Valdebebas in Madrid. But he's not the player he once was. He doesn't have the legs. He likes to dictate it a little bit deeper, the same way we saw Pirlo do about a decade ago for Italy in Euro 2012. But I expect John McGinn to be assigned the role of dealing with Luka Modric. We know that McGinn loves hassling and harrying defenders. He does it in such an aggressive style, using that, his kind of meatball running technique he always goes on about, and sticking his big bum out, as he also always goes on about at Aston Villa, winning the ball back, getting fouls, getting us up the pitch. So expect McGinn to be on him. The question is, how do you deal with the other ball players in the Croatia team? We'll look more in depth in them in a bit, but the likes of Mateo Kovacic and Marcelo Brozovic and Ivan Perisic, left winger, too fitted. We've got to keep an eye on him as well. But Luka Modric is, of course, the key playmaker today. If we can deal with him like England did last Sunday, then I think we can shut Croatia out.
Yeah, good point. George Woodcock says, Modric not as fast as he was. Put McGregor on him, kick him off the park. Maybe not the best tactic. George Grimison says, if we play with the same passion we did against England, the result will take care of itself. Come on, Scotland, get right into them. I don't think we can argue with that. Good point on this one. As far as the starting 11, we've had a little look at it. Gabriel's put together the potential 11, Marshall in goal, McTominay, Hanley, Tierney, O'Donnell and Robertson on the flanks, McGregor and McGinn are there. Armstrong, the man tipped to come in to replace Billy Gilmour with Dykes and Adams. Do you have any disagreement with that, Roughie?
No, I think the only position is Armstrong. You could throw other names in there, but the manager's very loyal to him. He's played him when he's had to. He obviously thinks he's playing at a very, very high level. I think the only other opportunity would be Turnbull, but Turnbull hasn't been, thrown into that standard of game.
Yeah.
It might be, I don't know if it'd be too big for him or not. He's definitely a player, I think, run about the 18-yard box who likes a shot at goal. And I think that's what kind of goal we might have to score today, somebody taking a chance. I think Armstrong is a good player, but I don't think he gets into goal-scoring opportunities as much as Turnbull.
Yeah, the strange thing about it, Roughie, is as it goes on, there will be, I hope it goes against the grain of how we are as a nation, which is we're going to be biting our nails to the 75th minute. And then I think he'll throw the cavalry on. I think he'll look at it as a manager and say, listen, this is it, it's the one chance. And I think he might, if it's going to 75, 80 minutes, just say, I've got to make bold moves.
Well, they did it against Czech Republic. Forrest came on, and Adams came on, and there was a couple of others come on, and it does give you that injection with 10, 15 minutes to go. But I hope we're not at that stage. I think rather we're 1-0 up, and we have to defend the 1-0 because that's what we're good at. That's what. If you look at all our results against the good sides, it's 1 each, it's 0 each, it's 1-0, it's 1 each. We don't lose a lot of goals when we don't have to lose a lot of goals. We're very good at defending.
Yeah.
My biggest worry is we've now got to attack.
Yeah.
And it's something that we've not done against the bigger sides. We've done it against the Faroe Islands, we've done it against Luxembourg, but we haven't really pinned anybody back. We've no throw caution to the wind and had them defending in numbers. So
things have moved on, Roughie. A couple of years ago we were on this programme, you're going, we can't defend.
That's correct. We couldn't defend, particularly the England game at Wembley. It was horrendous. Any balls coming into the box, you were shutting your eyes. But apart from the Czech Republic game, I think that game has obviously got to be put to the burner now. It was a very, very good header we were beat by, and then obviously that goal, the second goal. But apart from that, we had as many chances as them. That's why I think England will beat them tonight. I don't think they should have beat Croatia as well. I don't think it was a penalty.
Do you think the Czech Republic will beat England?
No, I don't think they will.
No.
And I don't think they should have drew with Croatia either. I thought Croatia were the better side. They got a very, very weak penalty, so I would have said Croatia should have won that 1-0, but they didn't. So The big thing, as I said earlier, is both teams have to win. Let's see what they've got when they throw caution to the wind. They might leave gaps all over the place.
Stephen Glancy said that 100% Roughie says, I'd love to see Turnbull have a wee go. Luckling Gold says, after years of nearly men, tonight is the night. So quite a lot of people now just getting the bit between their teeth, just getting that feeling as we get ever closer to this, that this could be indeed the night. As far as Croatia are concerned, here's the potential starting 11, and as you have a look at it, you can see that Modric, Kovacic, is top drawer. Barisic for Rangers for me has been absolutely brilliant. When he gets down the flank, Roughie, he could be a problem. Perisic as well is a really good player, and Lovren obviously had a really impressive stint at Liverpool, and he's I don't think he's an introvert. I think he's one of those guys who believes he's a better player than he actually is. But nevertheless, as you look at that squad, they've got players that can hurt us.
Well, obviously a lot of people don't know the rest of the players. Obviously the Modric and that, but more basically Barisic, who we've seen all year, and that's the quality that's in their side. You know, we saw what a fantastic side he's had. We saw the damage he's caused all season in a Rangers jersey. And that's what the strength that he's going to bring to that team. And if he's that good, I'm sure there'll be other players on that side that we don't see as much will be of equal quality. So they're not a bad side.
Yeah, I mean, amazingly, Gabriel, this is a side we're playing against. We've got a good record against them. But over and above that, this is a side who regularly over the last 20 years have been in the latter stages of big tournaments.
Yeah, of course, they came second in the World Cup 3 years ago, 2018, knocking out England in the semi-final. They've made the quarter-final stages of this competition twice, Euro 96 and Euro 2008. They were knocked out by Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal in the last 16 5 years ago, so they are experienced in progressing the group. They were about 33 to 1 to win the tournament pre-tournament. They're now 80 to 1, which reflects the fact they've only got 1 point so far. And they are really disappointed. You had Ivan Perisic and Zlatko Dalic, the manager, up for press yesterday. Both of them saying they are well below their own standard. They're not playing good enough, and they can't put their finger on why. They said they need to play with more intensity. It's only 2 wins in their last 11 games. They were against Malta and Cyprus, so nothing to boast of. But they do have players that can score goals. They don't usually score too many, but they're danger all over the park. Even the likes of Kramaric, he scored 20 for Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga this season. Ante Rebic plays for AC Milan, so they are no mugs by any means. They're favourites with the bookies at 7 to 5 as well. So if you fancy a punt on Croatia, go against your team, then they are the favourites. But I just get this feeling that perhaps this Croatia team is over the hill. 2018 is my generation's golden generation. I know that you were a massive fan of the team with the likes of Davor, Šuka in the late 90s as well. They did so well in the World Cup in 1998. But I think they're just about over the hill. Can our young, energetic players get around them? You've got to hope so.
Yeah, I mean, John Donald says, come on, Scotland, we can do this, 3-1. It's time for the whole nation, says Thomas McDougall, to back our boys and the national team to show the world we can do it. Thomas, I think there is a real enthusiasm here in the studio. I know Gabs is about to spontaneously combust, such as his excitement for this one. Alice and Sarah Carroll, come on, Scotland. We need to keep the ball, don't give it up easy, says Gordon. Anxious, but I have faith. Come on, Scotland, the 12th man is behind you, says William. And a lot of people, we want to hear the Hampden roar, says Des Boyden. Des, you're absolutely right. And Ronnie Porter says, just a little check for you, Roughie. Attacking is not Steve Clarke's tactics. His tactical brain has always been for the defensive and the counter-attack. Well, listen, keep the clean sheet. Nick the goal that we crave. We just want 1 goal now. The way things were going last night, Roughie, I was just praying that we didn't need a situation where we had to get 2 goals.
Yeah, that would have been asking a lot. But no, that's the point I was making, that if we do go 1 up, I'm more than confident the way Steve Clarke sets out his teams that we're capable enough to get people behind the ball and defend properly and then hit them in the break. But we've got to get that goal first. We've got to get it before them.
Yeah, Stephen Donald says all the trouble is going to come down our right. Kovacic, Perisic, Modric through the middle. That's where the game will be won or lost in tactics, and the team selection needs to be right. We need to be sharp and on form. Tommy Ferry says the whole nation always backs the team. Yeah, absolutely. And I think From our own point of view, James Skeen says we need to get the ball to Adam where he can hurt them as well. Listen, we're going to give our prediction very, very shortly, Roughie. We're going to flip quickly to get your thoughts on the other match because regardless of that, I think Gareth Southgate's really miffed at the way this whole thing has deprived him of two key players. Maybe not as much Chilwell, but certainly Mason Mount is a big loss for him because he's been one of the better players in what I think has been a lacklustre England.
Yeah, I think everybody from day one has been a bit confused about how these rules are panned out. And we hear about people, you have to be 15 minutes in contact with somebody before it really matters. And you must see players strolling about the hotel with their mates and that. And,
yeah.
So it's very difficult, to say...
It's not difficult, Ruffy. The whole thing's a nonsense. Let's stop kidding each other on.
I mean, the thing about it is, if the two guys get tested, the lateral flow, and they're negative, so what's the problem?
But Billy Gilmour must have been in the dressing room.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Cuddling everybody, gets man of the match, people are up chatting to him. Yeah. He's high as a kite.
Yeah, I mean, I know the rules are there, people put them in place and they're very stringent. I think it's the UEFA doctors that decide, who does the testing and what rules they come under with them. But if I was the England manager, I'd be seriously miffed, if they're taking a lateral flow test and both of them are negative. I'd be trying to get my head around that one.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what Gareth Southgate has mentioned.
Well, we had worked with the players this morning on the training pitch, so of course then you find out as you finish that this is the situation. So I can't say it isn't disruptive, of course. We don't really know at this point whether they might be okay for tomorrow or they could be out for 10 days. So there's a lot of unknowns, frankly, at this moment in time.
Since he actually was in that press conference is quite simply, Gabriel, they'll miss the next round game as well, which is a real blow for Gareth Southgate and his plans. I have tremendous sympathy for the England manager over this one.
Yeah, it's... as you two say, it's just so complicated to get your head around how they can be specifically picked out, Mason Mount and Ben Chilwell, for speaking in the tunnel, whereas there are no specific players from Scotland that have been identified as close contacts to Billy Gilmour. We're not the ones that make the rules. We just have to follow what we hear, what they say. That's the current protocol. We do remember before the tournament, Pau Torres of Spain had been given a positive test. He had to self-isolate, but since I think he did 3 or 4 negative test, so it turned out it had been a false positive, and he was able to come out of isolation before the 10 days were completed. So perhaps if Mount or Chilwell can return 2 or 3 negative tests, the FA can present this to UEFA and say perhaps can they play in the last 16. Not sure how this one's going to go because Billy Gilmour was the first positive at the tournament itself. How UEFA handle this will be very interesting to see. But Scotland have to count their lucky stars. Could you imagine if 5 or 6 players had been ruled out, like for that opening game of the friendlies against the Netherlands early on in June? That would just be a massive blow, the biggest game of a generation. So I think Steve Clarke not going to be pleased that one of his best players is out. And of course, everyone wants Billy Gilmour to recover as quickly as possible. But he's going to be thankful that it is just Billy Gilmour and he's got everyone else to pick from.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as the group is concerned, here's how it all shapes up. Roughie, Gabriel has explained it all to us. There we are, sitting nicely at the bottom. But if we win, suddenly we'll be above Croatia. And then, it's in the lap of the gods between England and the Czech Republic. We don't care. We'll be there in the next round. And you're looking on and you're thinking, well, we get 4 points in our group as well, aren't you?
Well, we would have qualified. We would have qualified in both World Cups, but that's not the case. That wasn't the rules.
Yeah.
But no, a win, it doesn't matter where you get it, whether it was 3 against Czech Republic or whatever. It's 4 points on the board, and that's all that matters, and that just takes you through.
Yeah, was that the worst experience you've ever had coming back from Argentina, Roughie, with the reaction you got from people?
Yeah, it was quite bad. It was fierce. I think the whole nation had been built up for us to do particularly well in it, and it just went horribly pear-shaped. I pray that never ever happens to this set of players, that everybody comes from a high to a low, because I think we've moved on for that. I think we've got to support I mean, put it this way, if we don't qualify, yeah, we'll be humming and hawing and we'll be going, couldn't believe that, couldn't believe that. But at the end of the day, this group of players have got another tournament in them, and we've got to stick by them.
Yeah, I must admit, some people might disagree. It was not really something that we can discuss with Gav since he's so young, but I thought the 1974 squad was, for me, one of the best squads. And then, you know, closely behind it, possibly, was the 1978 squad, which was fantastic. I mean, you played, and you could have been at 74 as well, Roughie. What's your thinking on it? What was the best squad? Am I just looking at it through tinted glasses because I was a boy? 74, we were there for the first time.
No, I think the 74 game as well was the first introduction to me, you know, for Scotland being in the World Cup. Obviously, you're talking about Dennis Law and you're talking about Billy Bremner and Lorimer, young Joe Jordan coming in there, and Jardine McGrain, you know, so they all had quality. There was no doubt about that, and there must have been a massive disappointment there to not actually lose.
Yeah,
you know, and get put out. You know, how cruel is that?
And we should have beaten Brazil.
Exactly, you know. So, you know, and then you move on, and obviously the players start emerging, the big players, the Dalglishes, the Souness's, and Danny's still there as well.
Yeah. And
the Jordans and all that, you know, and John Wark as well. It was just littered with...
Maybe I'm being unkind about the whole thing, Roughie, because I mentioned to you the 1982 squad. I mean, this squad, this is what's great about this squad. You know, Billy Gilmour, okay, didn't get on the park, but he still, you know, got himself a Champions League medal, and I'm sure he'll have many more medals to come. But you had Andy Robertson, who was a Champions League winner. Your 82 side was all full of everyone who played in the European final.
Yeah, and I have to say that I know Andy Robertson's a wide player, and wee Gilmour still came into the game. The main European Cup winners for us were all in the main positions. Kenny Dalglish, Graham Souness, Alan Hansen.
Yeah.
You know, they were littered right through the base of the team. You know, and we keep forgetting Stevie Archibald plays with Barcelona. You know what I mean?
But he reached the Champions League final.
Yeah,
you know?
so it was all
John
there.
Wark, Hansen,
yep. John Robertson.
Yeah.
You know,
Robbo was a two-time winner.
Two-time, yep. So, you know, the quality's there. It just doesn't justify that you're going to be successful, and strange things happen in games. That's why, for the sake of the players, the younger players in the squad just now, I hope it's a great feeling at the end of tonight than a negative one.
Yeah, Frankie Harley says, an interesting one from you, Frankie, says, lads, I'm still a believer. Scotland and the Czechs are going through from this group. If that happens, Frankie, I think they'll be... Listen, if you thought Argentina was fierce, the English press and the fans would be, you know, they'd be looking for... They'd be baying for Gareth Southgate's blood.
It would... it's not thinkable. I mean, we saw when every England manager... it comes to the end, he's got some kind of vegetable on his head when the media get a hold of it. You
I don't like that.
No, I don't like that either, you know. I mean, some editor somewhere must think it's funny, you know, to do that to somebody, an individual, but that's how severe they are down there. They really go for the jugular.
Yep, absolutely. It's not a nice situation to find yourself in. I didn't think Graham Taylor deserved that. Okay, there's a couple other things I was going to say to you. The news that Wembley, for the semis and the final, will have 75% capacity, 60,000 fans. I think there was a wee bit of jiggery pokery, because I think the real threat from Alexander Seferin was quite simply, by the way, you know, this is this game in the semis and the final might be taken elsewhere if you can't give us a sufficient, you know, amount of people allowed into the ground. So I think the Prime Minister, there was a bit of chatting going on in the background to allow this to happen.
Yeah, I think everybody's looking at dates when they start going to let people travel, dates when they're going to make the hospitality bigger. I think a lot of people, particularly people with weddings, will be absolutely astounded that there's going to be that amount of people, you know, getting let into a football stadium, you know, when they can't have a wedding for 50 or 100 people, you know, in a close area. So, and I think there's a big rugby game this week as well. There's about 40 or 50 going to that, 1,000. So yeah, I think a lot of people in certain circumstances will be annoyed the way some people are pushing things through, but UEFA have been doing it right for the start. You know, they've been pulling the strings all over the place.
Well, absolutely. I mean, listen, this is the lots of organisations. I mean, a lot of people are saying how the Tokyo Olympics can go on is a farce as well. But if anything, I think they've cleverly managed to just engineer enough supporters in there in very difficult circumstances. And although a lot of the public now are becoming very critical, Gabriel, of, you know, it seems to be one rule for football, the fans, the players, and other rules for lots of other people in their own businesses, trying to get some kind of crowd back in to get them some money.
Yeah, it just seems to be so jumbled up at the moment. Obviously, we're hearing that 60,000 will be at Wembley. Boris Johnson and his government will point to the fact that you have to have a negative lateral flow test to get into the stadium, and the fact that it's outdoors as well. But that is expected to be before the general opening of the rest of the society. You know, we're not expecting to be in level 1 or level 0, I think it is. Nicola Sturgeon, the First Minister of Scotland, announcing today that I think that'll be on the 21st of July. So that's still about 10 days. The final is on the 11th. So you're looking at 2 weeks again before that happens up here, that there'll be 60,000 down 5 hours away in London. So you don't know, again, UEFA, the protocols, we don't know what's going on. There was pressure coming from the upper doors in Switzerland about the fact that they could threaten it with Budapest or even Bucharest. There's plenty of fans in those stadiums, 60,000 as well. I think it is in Budapest capacity there. Remember, if Scotland do get through, they'll be playing there, so plenty of Tartan Army fans will be happy about that. But that is why we think England have managed to get 60,000. They've said, we'll get this many in, as you say, jiggery-pokery. But, you know, it will be good to see fans back, and especially it will be good to see 30,000 Scotland fans for the semi-final.
Yeah, absolutely. Gabriel, 30,000 Scotland fans. And just out of curiosity, while we march on to the semi-final, Gabriel, is there enough jiggery-pokery for you to get me, Roughie, and yourself 3 press passes for Budapest?
I tell you, if we get to the knockout stages, I will be making several phone calls this evening. We will be there, wherever it is. It could be here at Hampden. You know, if they do get through, it will either be in third place, that is. It will be at Hampden or in Budapest. They could still finish second. That'd be Copenhagen. Not bad. Ruffy, ask him if he fancies a trip to Denmark.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Roughie fancies a trip anywhere. He's going stir crazy at the moment. To be perfectly honest with you, though, listen, the way it's looking, which is great. England are already through. They know they've qualified. I think Gareth Southgate would still get a bit of jip if they finished third, but nevertheless, they'd be happy to be into the next stage. They're happy to be there. It's just they want to win the group, England, to make sure that they are not facing a very difficult game in the next stage.
That's the important one. We've seen it in the Champions League. We've seen the importance of winning your group. You know, you get a lesser team. And that's what everybody will be saying. Everybody in every group will say, stay away from them, stay away from them. We don't want to play them in this round. And that's what they'll all try to do. I have no doubts that England are going to win that game tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think England will win the game. I'm actually going to go 2-0, Roughie, for England. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'd probably go 2-0 as well.
Yeah, Gabriel, what are you going?
I am going 1-0. Jack Grealish, he'll play. I think he'll have a big influence on it, but I don't think they'll impress too much, and I think they'll struggle in the next round. But 1-0 tonight, England to top the group.
Okay, England to top the group. Before we give you our prediction, give us your prediction. What do you think is going to happen as far as the game? Who is going to win tonight at Hampden Park? Will it be Scotland or Croatia? What's the score going to be? We want to hear from you right now. Give us your prediction. And while you're doing that, I'm going to read out as many as I possibly can. But just before that, I got up this morning, Roughie, and obviously looking at all the headlines again, and I saw the story that Manchester City were preparing a £100 million bid for Harry Kane, and I thought to myself, £100 million, Harry Kane, the world's gone mad. I actually remember thinking, £1 million for Trevor Francis, you know, and he justified it by scoring the winner in the European Cup final in '79. But nevertheless, £100 million for Harry Kane, and it got me thinking about Scotland. I just wondered about how many Scotland legends down through the years, if they were playing now and the quality that they had, would be worth £100 million plus. Now, I've picked 5 players, Roughie, that I watched that I thought were absolutely magnificent. I could have included I could have included McStay, I could have included Barry Ferguson, you know, great players, you know, fantastic in the midfield. I could have included Ian Durrant. You know, there's lots of players at that level. Whether they were £100 million or not, I don't know. Here's the 5 I've picked, Roughie. Give us your thoughts on mine. I've gone for Dalglish, Stone Waller for £100 million. Davy Cooper I thought was a magnificent player. McGrain, world class. 2 of my favourites from the new firm as it was then. I thought Strachan was outrageous, and I thought Sturrock was one of those players that I loved watching. Paul Sturrock could hold the ball in with his back to goal. Some people will say, oh, give me peace, Sturrock and Strachan are never £100 million, but it's a bit of fun. Roughie, what do you make of my 5?
I wouldn't have a problem with them. You know, obviously I don't think Sturrock would have got the £100 million. I can see where you're coming from.
Well, we Jim in a 9-year deal trying to buy them out of the contract.
You'd have put him on that deal. There's no doubt about it. But generally these £100 million, £200 million, £300 million players are strikers.
Yeah.
You know, apart from the odd one here or there. And Dalglish certainly, there's no doubt about that. You know, and Danny being a fullback, you know, as you'll see in a minute. Danny's up there with me as well. But I mean, there's not many fullbacks go for £100 million, but he's certainly quality.
Yeah, I thought I'd put Strachan and Sturrock in just because, as a boy, I loved watching them play. I loved Sturrock. I thought he was fantastic as a player, and seeing him on a regular basis domestically. And Strachan for me was just, you know, great skill. And listen, the guys you're about to mention as well, I just went for a particular generation. I could have gone back and mentioned some of the players you've gone for, Roughie. Talk us through them.
Well, obviously I said strikers are the one that cost the money, and these 2 strikers, Kenny Dalglish and Dennis Law, were up there. You know, Dennis obviously one of the first players to go to Italy. You know, so how much would that have cost?
Yeah.
You know, in the modern day, if an Italian club was going to buy him, and obviously we know everything with Kenny and Graham Souness. You know, just captain everywhere he goes. You know, just a leader by example. Alan Hansen I put into the Van Dijk.
Could you even get? I think he's on like 22 caps, Roughie.
Yeah, but he had everything that Van Dijk had. You know, composure, a bit of pace, read the game well. You know, and I think he would certainly be up there.
Yeah, it's an interesting 5.
I obviously hope he was at Thistle when we got that £100 million before he went to Liverpool.
The other 2 players that I think, well, maybe 2 or 3 that I think a lot of the older generation might mention. We mentioned £100 million, but unfortunately we didn't mention £200 million players. So there's no point in mentioning Jimmy Johnstone, because Jimmy Johnstone today would be the equivalent of a Messi. I mean, he's just outrageous. He's one of, and I was lucky enough to see him on a regular basis. He was phenomenal.
Yeah, well, he went away and played in somebody's testimonial game, didn't he?
Yeah, Alfredo Di Stefano.
And he raved about him. He said he could have played for any team in his league, or any team in the Italian league. Even
Willie Henderson, Roughie, I thought.
Well, he got invited to all these.
Could be a top player.
We get invited to these rest of the world games, and it just shows you the quality of both of them.
And the other 2 players I'm going to mention to you, Roughie, maybe 3. I'm going to mention 3 to you that I could have easily put in there. You know, as we were talking about it. One was Alan Gilzean, I thought was a fantastic player. Dave Mackay, and the other one was Baxter, because. You know, a first time around Baxter, just every person I speak to just talks about him with a left peg, and he was just gallus, and he was at his peak, and he wasn't in any way affected by, you know, the bright lights and the pubs.
No, I don't think anybody who's getting in contact with it would have any complaints to any of these players.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I'd mention them. A wee bit of fun. As soon as I thought, £100 million for a Harry Kane. There's a few Scots I'd like to mention. And Paul Thompson says, surely Kevin Kyle's worth £100 million. Yes, in Monopoly money, to be honest with you. Also, Danny McGrain, one of the best, says Kevin McManus. Dennis, yep. Top man Dennis Law, past his best at 74, I think. There's a fair bit of sentiment getting him there. But nevertheless, lots of people talking about 3-1 Scotland, says Frankie. Frankie, I do hope you're right. Ronnie Porter says, John McGinn to score the first goal. Then as long as we win, I don't care what the score is. Absolutely. And Robert Venn says, Sturrock. No chance. Maybe I can't even say I'm looking through tangerine tinted glasses. He was just He's just a great player. I loved him. I thought I'd throw her in there and keep a few United mates of mine very happy indeed. But the amount of people are saying, Jim Ross says Scotland to win 2-0 and the Czechs to win 1-0. 2-0 Scotland. McGinnon Armstrong says Niall Kane. Niall, thanks for that. I mean, obviously we're going to be on to tomorrow to reflect on the game, and who knows, fingers crossed. We're talking about a great win for us. Bill Muirhead says 2-0 Scotland. Liam McShane 2-1 to Scotland. Stephen McVeigh says 2-1 Scotland. Bruce has said 2-0 to Scotland. There's lots of people very, very complimentary about Scotland with a good feel about it. So fingers crossed we do indeed get the win that we crave. I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to go Scotland 1, Croatia 0. Roughie.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking as well. I think I'm going to go back to my childhood when every time the Daleks come on, I hid behind the couch till the whole thing finished. And I think it's going to be the same tonight. I think Scotland are going to score early and I'll be behind the couch again. Yeah. Biting my nails for 80 minutes, 1-0.
Gabriel, we're going to leave the last word to you out there ahead of this big match. The sun is shining. You've been bouncing about, excited about the whole thing. So give us your prediction.
Yeah, I get more nervous every single match, Peter. I don't know what I'm going to do for the next couple of hours until the kickoff comes. I'm also going 1-0. It's a full house. You know, I gave you that stat yesterday. Scotland have only scored in their final match of European Championship matches. You know I'm superstitious. It's only been players beginning with Muck that have scored. I'm going Super John McGinn to score. I think he's going to knee it in, and then it's going to hit his toe, and then hit the post, and then the keeper, and go in. It's going to be the worst goal of all time, but it's going to send Scotland through. I've got to just say, I didn't get a say on those 5 players, but my Aberdeen mates back home will lamp me next time in the North East if I don't mention Willie Miller. Where was his shout, eh? Van Dijk. He was the Van Dijk of the 1980s, ahead of Alan Hansen.
Gabriel, I've got to hand it to you. You know, Willie Miller's, Willie Miller was a fantastic player, wasn't he?
No complaints about that one either.
Yeah, there you are. Gabriel, we're not going to argue with you. Your Aberdeen mates.
Didn't say Doug Rugby, did he?
No, he didn't mention Doug Rugby. and if he did, we're just going to throw him a rubber ear. I'm going to mention this from Kathy Conahan, who says, I've gone 1-0 Scotland. My grandson's gone 2-0. So if we win 2-0, I owe him £50 for a new PlayStation game, but well worth it. Kathy, well done to you. That is absolutely fantastic. Kevin says, just as long as we get through somehow. And Andrew Breslin says 4-1 Scotland tonight, or possibly 4-2. Andrew, who's clearly opened a can of Tennent's early on and decided to absolutely go ballistic. And I think the best one is John Donald, who basically sums it up in true Jason Donovan fashion. Any win will do. It's as simple as that. Listen, Roughie, great to chat to you. Quite a lot of people questioning your decision to wear an old traditional Scotland top with peach shorts. To be perfectly honest with you, it's something that you do on a regular basis, just bamboozle us with your fashion sense. Nevertheless, he's got the Scotland top on. We are all looking forward to this one. It's the big one. Let's hope tomorrow on the programme, 4 o'clock, we're all talking about it. We're hearing from Steve Clarke smiling away, and the players all talking about a great night. Come on, Scotland. Well done to Gabriel out there at Hampden Park. Enjoy the game from myself, Peter Martin, Alan Ruff. Don't forget, download the PLZ Soccer app. You can get all the latest unique video content. You can also take part in our Euro 2020 Fandex game, which is an absolute bonus. Basically, it costs you nothing. All you have to do is play the kind of a stock exchange, pick your team, and if they win and you've got a low price for them, it changes, it goes up. You've got a chance to win some cash prizes at the end of each stage, so there's still time for you to get in there and pick your favourite teams with the stock exchange game Euro 2020 Fandex on our website. Good luck with that, but make sure you download the app. We will see you tomorrow on the programme. From Roughie, myself and Gabriel, thanks for watching.